Question number 6, Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question's to the Minister of Health. Does he stand by all his statements?
Honourable Tony Ryle.
Yes, Mr Speaker, within context. I especially stand by the statement that despite tight times, this government has increased health funding by an average of $500 million a year, and that we have 1,300 more doctors, over 3,000 more nurses and 1,000 fewer managers and administrators.
Very good.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does he stand by his statement regarding elective surgery that, quote, these decisions are made by clinicians within the funding they've got, end quote? If so, is funding sufficient in light of the comments by the chair of the New Zealand Medical Association, who said this week patients who needed surgery were being told they didn't qualify, Arthritis New Zealand, who said current funding levels are not meeting need, and specialists who are frustrated because they're turning away patients in pain and disability, unable to treat them with the level of funding they receive?
Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr Speaker, yes, the government is putting a huge effort into providing more elective surgery, because the history of it was we inherited a situation where under that member opposite, when she was Minister of Health, the health budget increased dramatically, but she cut the amount of elective surgery in New Zealand.
Right. Rubbish. Yeah. What rubbish?
Order.
Supplementary question.
Order. Supplementary question, Honourable
We've got
Annette
a patient
King.
in the front row. Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. Is it ethical for Auckland District Health Board?
Order.
I'm going to start again, shall I, Mr Speaker?
Well, and if the member could start again, but just start the question straight away without an interjection.
Are you hearing the interjection,
Order.
Mr Speaker?
If the member could just ask her question, I think it would assist me in establishing some order.
Supplementary question. Is it ethical for Auckland District Health Board to make cuts to cardiothoracic surgery, vascular surgery, neurosurgery, orthopaedic surgery, gynaecology, general surgery, respiratory medicine and intensive care, because, to quote their CEO, these are services where we make a significant loss. Patients are now figures on a profit and loss ledger.
Honourable Tony Ryle.
Well, Mr Speaker, it is an unusual way to describe a service. I presume what the member was saying, that they were not meeting budget. The Auckland District Health Board has a total revenue of $2 billion a year. The Chief Executive's expressed some concern that in one part of the service they're $12 million off budget. That's equivalent to about 2 days' funding at the Auckland District Health Board. I support district health boards as they try to live within their budgets, because if they live within their budgets, they are able to make decisions for the people of their communities to improve services. And I don't think I want our system heading to that road to financial ruin that I had when I became Minister of Health 6 years ago.
More rubbish. Supplementary question.
Order. Supplementary question, Honourable Annette King.
Does he have confidence in the chair he appointed to Auckland DHB, whose CEO has sent out a panicky email to senior staff which has caused widespread alarm because it requires significant changes and, quote, quick wins to reduce the $12 million deficit by taking staff out of theatres and from children and older persons' health services?
Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr Speaker, yes, I have the utmost confidence in Dr Lester Levy. I have to say, hospitals trying to balance their budget is nothing new. In fact, it even happened 30 years ago when that member was running her first election campaign against Sir Robert Muldoon, Brian Tallboys and Lance Adam Schneider.
In light of that answer,
supplementary question, Honourable Annette King.
I could point out that that member's been in Parliament only 3 years less than me.
Order. We're going to call it 1-1 and we're going to move back to question time.
And I've still got all my hair.
Supplementary question, Honourable Annette.
Supplementary question. Yeah. And a good thing too. And a good thing too.
Order. 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 Now we will have the question, otherwise we're moving on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does he think it's acceptable for DHBs to take on average 5 months to fill a senior medical officer vacancy, but it can take up to 8 months before they actually start work in an effort to save money? And what is the impact on patients and staff with such long delays?
Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr. Speaker, look, filling some roles does take a long time. I only look at the Leader of the Opposition role for the Labor Party. It's taken a long time, and in fact the Chief of Staff took months. So some of these roles are quite difficult and challenging, and certainly I'm sure with that member's experience over the last 30 years, she's seen many of them come and go.
Oh dear.
Supplementary question, Honourable Annette King.
How does his promise of more operations stack up with the fact that Auckland District Health Board has only managed to increase the number of orthopaedic operations carried out by 28 since 2011-12 and now wants to make cuts to orthopaedic surgery, according to the CEO's recent email, which I'm happy to table, Mr. Speaker, because the Minister obviously hasn't read it, listening to all his answers.
Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased that I always check anything that member says in the House. Since we had the doctored OIA, I've always checked. The information I have is, in fact, that they've done over 1,200 more orthopaedic procedures compared to when Labor was last in office, 2007-8, and I think they're doing a lot of very good work in Auckland under a lot of pressure. It's a fast-growing population, but that's the reason why this government has put in $180 million extra into the Auckland DHB in the last 5 years.
Very good.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable Annette King.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to make a personal statement.
Order in that case.
Regarding...
Order. If we could just briefly have what it's regarding, and then you need to seek leave, so I'll put
I seek leave to make a personal statement, Mr. Speaker, regarding repeated accusations by Tony Ryle that I have doctored figures.
Order. Leave is sought to make this personal explanation. Is there any objection? There is not. Honourable Annette King.
Mr. Speaker, in July 2013,